The first one is throwing stuff. So when we do shot puts, single arm passes, overhead throws, the throw from the stability ball, whatever, the thing we are working on, the quality that we are trying to improve is someone's ability to have acceleration and or top end movement speed, so moving as fast as possible. The way that we get there, similar to strength, and to, I guess, expand on that, as a side example, when you're working on strength, most of the literature says that you have to be above 70% of your 1 rep max. And it's like a, kind of like a baseline standard. Obviously, that number moves up and down based on where you're at. It's a little more complicated than that, but we have to be above a certain level of weight for their neurological and physical adaptation to happen when we're working on strength. Acceleration and speed is the exact same. So if I give someone a rotational shot put, an overhead throw, a single arm pass, for all the recently graduated college people will remember, and for anyone who doesn't remember, the force equation is force equals mass times acceleration. Yes?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Force is mass times acceleration. So the mass of the ball times the acceleration of the ball. All right? In this, I do not care about the mass per se, and I'm not as worried about the force number. I know this is an equation thing. Hear me out. The property we are trying to do here, because those are two variables we can kind of change around. Well, one of them we can change. One is an outcome. But the acceleration is the really key part here. And if I'm having someone throw a ball, there's a perfect weight, right, to throw it. If it's too light, you can't produce as much force. There's not enough resistance to the muscle. If it's too heavy, it's not going anywhere. If I gave you a 30-pound tungsten ball or a 16-ounce baseball, one of them I can't throw very fast because it's just too heavy. I can't produce enough speed on the muscles, enough neurological drive to get this adaptation going. But a baseball, I can throw really fast, right? I can move my body as fast as possible. For speed, it's anywhere above like 90% of your highest velocity that you have to hit to start working on that speed. I know this is long-winded, but when we have clients throwing things, there's almost no reason they should ever be above a 10-pound ball. And a 10-pound ball, I don't like to throw. That's hard for me to get acceleration behind. So I saw the other day Jim was throwing, Jim Sweetman, I'm sure you've all worked with, who's a tennis player, racket sports, the racket's what? A pound maybe, probably under a pound? Under a pound, half a pound. When he swings that, he's getting a lot of acceleration into the ball. He's trying to move that ball quickly. If that racket was 20 pounds, the force is just too low because he can't accelerate it. So when we throw a ball, I want him to be able to move his body at maximum speed, which means if he has a 20-pound ball and he does a throw that looks like that, because he just can't, he's not strong enough, nor are any of us strong enough to really accelerate this ball, it's just we're missing the point and wasting time. And for stuff like this, for Jim specifically, or anyone, power production, acceleration production is really important because it also means they can accelerate like that, and it's helping on the other end of them being able to decelerate like that. So if someone can produce a lot of force, it tells me they're also probably practicing being able to absorb a lot of force. They're strong enough to do it. They keep practicing that. So when you have people throw balls, I would say that the biggest ball that you should ever touch on any throw is an 8-pound ball. And even that is like still pretty heavy. Today I was doing shot puts in the gym because I am training for something stupid and want to throw a ball really far. But I was using a 6-pound ball. And even that, I mean, it moves quickly, but it felt heavy enough that I could put force behind it and not too heavy that I was lugging this thing around and my form got weird and it's like you're trying to just chuck this thing, okay? So that's pretty much the wrap up of this. Is anytime we're throwing stuff, it is not about how heavy the ball is. We're missing the point completely. We are trying to accelerate as fast as possible, get them to throw violently. Throwing something is not a lackadaisic movement. If we're doing that, then it's higher rep and it's just cardio at that point. And there's nothing wrong with just cardio at that point. Slam balls are very similar. Give them a super heavy weight if you're doing like 20 reps. That's cardio. But that's not force production. And if we're training force production, it has to be a weight that is manageable so that we can accelerate violently through the movement.
So if I were to throw the ball to him, he's going to catch it. Aubrey is not going to get hit in the face. But this ball is coming at him with some force. He's absorbing that force. And ideally, he would allow it to come across. So that ball is going to come with force, and he absorbed it, right? So that's where that slightly heavier ball is typically used. You can do that against a wall. I just wasn't going to take the camera over there. But that's where, like, okay, now your 12s, your 16s start to make sense, because it's not about what I'm producing as much as it is about what I am absorbing, because it's a deceleration property that you're going for. That's the only time you really need the bigger balls within, that's a weird statement, and I'm surprised Juliet didn't say anything.
Keep it down, Juliet.
But ultimately, does that all make sense as to like what, where, and why?